31st of October, the media center of Ukraine continues. My name is Svetlana Chuporenko, and now we will talk about the situation on the border of Ukraine. And today we have with us Andrii Demchenko, spokesman of the State Border Service of Ukraine. Good day. I would like to start our conversation with the topic of the permission to leave for men from 18 to 22 years old. Currently, there is such opportunity. How many of such men already left Ukraine, according to the statistics of the Ukrainian Border Service? So the changes to the rules on the border crossing for this age have come in effect since August 28. And so basically this new law is active for slightly over 2 months. And now our service allows actually for the men to leave the Ukraine. So for that, a man needs to have a foreign passport and also military registration card. This also does not apply to the statesmen, those men who hold state positions, but the State Border Service of Ukraine does not carry out statistics by a certain age. And so to estimate how many citizens of Ukraine from 18 to 22 years old crossed the border over this period, I cannot. Many now refer to the data periodically published by the Poland Border Service. And our Poland colleagues, they carry out such statistics, and from time to time they provide the statistics. But we need to understand that everyone is focused to this age category live in Ukraine, but we should not forget that these people also enter Ukraine. And so our observation from the first day when this law came in effect, we noticed that people both leave Ukraine from this age category and return to Ukraine. But we also need to understand that overall passenger flow, this category of men does not constitute a big volume from the passenger flow in total, because passenger flow is more impacted by seasons, like winter season, summer season, when we have vacation season, summer break, winter break, autumn break. Currently, we are into autumn break for the school, for pupils, and which also increases the passenger flow. But overall, since August, when this law was activated, on the opposite, the dynamic of the passenger flow actually reduced over this period of time. You already mentioned the autumn break for the pupil. Do you have any statistics about pupils and adults accompanying these pupils leaving Ukraine? As I said, as soon as the summer ended, the passenger flow decreased. Even at the beginning of September, there was some increase among the outflow of the passengers, because some people planned vacation for early autumn, but at the same time, dynamics, outflow and inflow dynamics changed a bit. But these dynamics changed during September and October. But since last Friday, we noticed a considerable increase in the passenger outflow due to the autumn break in schools. That's probably due to the fact that some parents planned a foreign trip during the autumn break. And I personally saw how children, like the entire classes, they were moving outside of Ukraine on some trip. recreation trip. And over weekend, approximately 105,000 of citizens crossed the border, but since the last weekend, the dynamic of the outflow rapidly increased to over 200,000 of passenger flow. And currently, these weeks, the passenger flow a bit higher than it was before. But it all depends on the situation connected due to the fall break, due to the autumn break in schools. But if we compare with September, the overall number of crossing border is about 3,400,000 of citizens. In August, the number was 4,300,000 something. So we can see that in 1 month, to compare with September with August, in just 1 month, the dynamic of the passenger flow dropped. So we should expect that the passenger flow will increase next time only during the winter break. What about the impact from the fact that Ukrzaliznytsia National Railroad increased the number of trains of routes which go from Chop on Eurotrack. We are ready to provide our services to our citizens, no matter what means of transportation they choose to cross the border. And it's good, of course, that people have more options for logistics to cross border to any country, no matter whether it's in the Zakarpattia region or whether it's in Lviv Oblast or in other oblasts, in other areas. Our task as a state border service of Ukraine is to ensure the border service for the people who either leave Ukraine or enter Ukraine at checkpoints, at border crossing checkpoints. And so if Ukraine able to make new agreements with other countries, we will provide our services to that. How you see how do you see the dynamics in the illegal attempts to cross the border, especially considering currently we have more colder weather? Since we discussed the passenger flow, I would like also to discuss the topic of implementation by European countries of a new system of entry and exit, because we need also to pay attention to that. Since we're already talking about border checkpoints, so first of all, I would like to reassure people this implementation of a new exit-entry system with EU countries bordering with Ukraine, it's not some new order for crossing the state border. It has to do with additional control, includes taking additional biometrics, fingerprints, facial features, and entering this information into the information about interpersonal records of a person. This implementation in each checkpoints does not mean that it will mean some delays. It does mean that there will be some delays. European Union also outlined that this base should be filled by European countries, by Schengen zone, during half a year. And even if at some checkpoint located on the border with Ukraine, this new system already started to work, at a certain checkpoint, this does not mean that every person crossing the border will be taking fingerprints and facial recognition, facial features, and it will take place gradually. And it will take place gradually in all the checkpoints, border checkpoints of Ukraine. On October 12th, when the European Union adopted the decision that this system will start to work, only few checkpoints of Ukraine have been connected to this system. In particular, checkpoints with Romania and with Poland, and currently there are 5 automobiles and automobile checkpoint and only 1 railroad checkpoint with Poland have been connected with this system. Currently, Romania connected all its border checkpoints with our country to this system. But again, we don't see any long lines, any queuing, and we don't see that that this implementation of this system, introduction of this system, made crossing the border more difficult. The time might increase a bit, but inconsiderably. So if somebody is worrying that due to the implementation of this system, they might longer wait on the border, so please allow more time, especially if you have next connecting flight or you have some business matter to attend to. Now, about moving on to your question about illegal crossing, attempts of illegal crossing, unfortunately, they do continue. There was not a single day when we wouldn't apprehend those who tried to illegally cross the border. But this year, the peak of the apprehension was in August, and starting from September, the dynamics dropped sharply, especially probably so the number of people who attempt to illegally cross the border reduced in September. Even though there were such cases both in September and in October, but if we look at October, we see twice less the statistics. About the situation in the north and east border with enemy, what is the situation in those borders? Do you observe subversive group attempts by subversive groups to cross the border, and what is about the situation with enemy equipment? In most cases, in most areas, enemy luckily does not manifest in any way to attempt to break through our border. These actions we notice at certain area in Sumy Oblast, within in a considerably small area, in Vovchansk area, in Kupiansk area, where we see that the enemy tries to break through the territory of Russia. But at the same time, the main threat which we see is the shelling, continuation of shelling, Chernigiv Oblast, Kharkiv Oblast, Sumy Oblast. There was not a single day when Russia wouldn't shell this our borderline oblast. The Chernigiv Oblast, over the last days, the number of shelling on Chernigiv Oblast increased. Most of the shelling are directed on Sumy, Chernigiv region, and Kharkiv region, and the enemy uses different caliber artillery and also drones for strikes. The strikes with drones, enemy increased this year. Enemy considerably increased strikes with drones. They drop explosive from drone. They also use glass fiber drones and FPV drones, with which enemy tries to aim not only on the defense forces of Ukraine, which stationed in this direction, but we also see that enemy targets populated civilian areas. So Russia, I continue to repeat that Russia continues to support, to confirm its status of a country terrorist, of a terrorist country, because Russia continues to kill civilian people living in the borderland territories. Thank you, Andrii. I remind you that we discussed the situation at the border area of Ukraine, and please stay with us for future events.